In the indigenous arts of Mexico, elite women are often portrayed while fulfilling important ceremonial and ritual roles. However, they're most commonly depicted in secondary ones, next to important male figures who are the focus of the work of art. According to Andrew Hamilton, Associate Curator of Arts of the Americas at the Art Institute of Chicago, people might not be surprised to learn that many works of the ancient Americas emphasize male figures, while depictions of women often appear in primarily elite contexts or as mothers, reinforcing many of the same stereotypes about the roles of women that exist today. But that's exactly why specific artifacts that show more diverse roles of women in the ancient Americas are so important and play an outsized role in our galleries. At Yaxchilan, near Chiapas, Mexico, the Maya carved intricate lintel stones that were a departure from these norms. Lady Shak, the Maya queen during the mid 8th century of the Common Era, is the clear focus of lintel 24. She is shown taking part in a bloodletting ritual that legitimizes the rule of her husband, Shield Jaguar the Great. In 2024, a statue of a Huasteca female athlete was presented to the public for the first time. The monumental female ball player, like Lintel 24, focuses on a woman taking part in an important religious ritual. This suggests that across indigenous Mexico, women could be presented as central to political and religious life rather than secondary. The Maya civilization thrived in southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador between the 3rd and 10th centuries of the Common Era. Yaxchilan was one of their important city-states located near Chiapas, Mexico. Though it was developed over centuries, much of what we see today was built during what is considered the golden age of Maya civilization. The site includes temples, palaces, ball courts, plazas, and elite residences. The Maya developed a form of hieroglyphic writing that was carved in high relief on the lintel stones and stelae found around the site, and this has allowed art historians to learn much about the Maya. Lintel stones 1, 2, and 3 on structure 33 depict the Maya ruler bird jaguar in full royal regalia. He wears a huge feathered headdress with layers of long feathers protruding from them. He's adorned with beaded jewelry on his neck and wrists and wears patterned clothing. The detail is ornate and exemplary of the golden age of Mayan art. Yet, his wife is seen on the side of him. She's smaller than Bird Jaguar and relegated to the edges of the lintel stone. While she's also wearing royal regalia, hers is much simpler. However, at structure 23, we see that women can play important roles in political and religious life. This structure was built by Shield Jaguar II, the father of Bird Jaguar, in the 8th century of the Common Era. Shield Jaguar was interested in rejuvenating the Ashilan site, as no construction had been done for nearly 150 years when he came to power. This structure was the home of one of his wives, Lady Shak, and it has 3 entrances that face the Umacinta River below. Travelers along the river could see the lintel stones, and they all depict a bloodletting ritual in which Lady Shak is the focus. Lintel 24 is a high-relief limestone carving depicting Shield Jaguar the Great on the left and Lady Shak on the right. The queen kneels on the ground, wearing elaborate clothing similar to those seen on the lintels of structure 33. She can be seen pulling a barbed rope through her tongue. She's holding a bark paper bowl that catches her blood. Shield Jaguar looks on, in full regalia. This is a reversal of how women are portrayed in the lintels of structure 33. This time, it's Shield Jaguar on the periphery, while the woman takes center stage. According to Lauren Kilroy of Smart History, bloodletting was a common ritual among elites, and it is one of the most frequent subjects of Mayan art. A ruler or other elites would let blood to honor and feed the gods at the dedication ceremony of a building, when children were born, or on other occasions. Rulers needed to shed blood in order to maintain order in the cosmos. The ruler was believed to be a descendant of the gods, and the act of bloodletting was of critical importance in maintaining their power and order in the community. Bloodletting was also an act related to rebirth and rejuvenation. This important task was usually assigned to kings and others of noble birth. For example, hieroglyphs at Yaxchilan describe bird jaguars' many acts of auto-sacrifice. Male rulers performing bloodletting can also be seen on stelae found at other Mayan sites like Naranjo. The practice proliferated throughout Mesoamerica and was even performed by the Aztecs. Lintel 24 elevates Lady Shak because she becomes the intermediary between the king and the supernatural world. According to Haynes, Willink, and Maxwell, authors of stingray spine use in Maya bloodletting rituals, a cautionary tale. Loss of blood wouldn't just allow the dreaming state sought for in vision inducement, it would also let the individual literally teeter on the brink between the world of the living and the supernatural world. A Mayan monarch would then become a mediator between humans and the divine. The crucial role that Lady Shock played in legitimizing the rule of her husband can be seen on lintel 25, which was placed above the central entrance of structure 23. The carving again depicts Lady Shock, but this time she has set the bowl of her blood on fire. A serpent can be seen coiling above her with its jaws open. From its jaws emerges a fully armed soldier who's been interpreted by art historians to be either a deity or a warrior ancestor. The artist is suggesting that Shield Jaguar the Great has the favor of the gods and thus the right to rule. It's been suggested that these carvings depict Shield Jaguar the Great's preparation for a military campaign. According to historian Mark Robinson, the primary text of lintel 25 is a commemorative text regaling the king, Shield Jaguar, and recording a bloodletting rite that was performed before a war that was launched that summoned the power of an ancestral warrior deity. While most carvings at Yaxchilan and in indigenous Mexican art in general depict women in supporting roles, lintel stones in structure 23 are unique. Lady Shock is the reason for the king's legitimacy, and her sacrifice will determine the fate of the kingdom. The Huasteca people lived to the northwest of the Maya in what's now northeastern Mexico. The Maya and Huasteca were once the same people, but around 2000 BC, the Huasteca broke away. They are known for their frontal stela carvings. Like other Mesoamerican cultures, the Huasteca participated in bloodletting rituals and human sacrifice thought to appease the gods. One way in which they did so was with athletic competition. The Huasteca, like the Maya, played a ball game that's contemporarily referred to as ulama. The game involves two teams of players using their hips to hit a 10-pound rubber ball through a hoop. The game was invented by the Olmecs and had political and religious purposes. According to Monica Petrus of Atlas Obscura, the game the Olmecs played was associated with prestige and social standing, and only the wealthy, and therefore upper class, could afford to put on a game. The giant stone heads found in the region also depict chiefs wearing the ball-playing helmet. Humans and the lords of the underworld battled it out by playing the game, according to the creation story known as the Popol Vuh. In this way, the ball court was a portal to Xibalba, the Mayan underworld. The Maya used the game as a stand-in for warfare, settling disputes over territory and hereditary issues, and to foretell the future. Captives of wars were forced to play undoubtedly rigged games that resulted in their sacrifice when they lost. While most carvings that art historians were aware of depict male ball players, recently a carving was unearthed near Veracruz, Mexico, depicting a female ball player. She's standing rigidly, wearing a tall headdress and jeweled ornaments that signify that she's of noble status. Her face is intense yet calm, and she looks up toward the viewer to signify her victory. She's frontally posed and life-sized, and her lower body reveals a complex harness that ulama players wore. In her hands is the severed head of her opponent. Both lintel 25 and the female Huasteca ball player demonstrate that women could play important religious and political roles in indigenous Mexico. Lady Shock demonstrates this through her auto-sacrifice, while the female ball player does so with her human sacrifice. Both women wear the symbols of noble birth, but neither are presented in a physically accurate way. Lady Jacques exhibits idealized Mayan beauty standards, and though the Maya did modify their bodies in various ways, the representation of the human body on the lintel stones are not naturalistic. According to Miller and O'Neill, authors of Maya Art and Architecture, it's exceedingly doubtful whether any sculptures were seriously intended as portraits of individual chiefs or priests. The general physiognomy represented on Maya sculptures differ widely from the accepted European traits of beauty. It seems pretty clear that artificial flattening of the head was practiced, and that straightened foreheads and retreating chins were held to be marks of beauty. Both images lack realistic proportions and spatial depth. According to Tatiana Proskuryakov, author of Study of Classical Maya Sculpture, the Maya have been reproached for their ignorance of foreshortening and perspective. Such devices, however, are not the only solution to the difficulty of figure composition and have their own shortcomings. Lady Shock is shown in profile, and the Huasteca female ball player has a frontal stance. Her face is clearly female, yet lacking any sort of identifying individual features. This lack of individualism and naturalism in indigenous Mexican art has led some art historians to question whether some of the important female figures have been overlooked. According to Mary Weismantel, professor of anthropology at Northwestern University, it was often assumed that a figure wearing a uniform or wearing a crown or sitting on a throne must be male. But as our society has changed, so have our assumptions. There's been a whole revolution in how we look at figures from the ancient past. While it may be the case that there are important indigenous women whose stories have been lost, our historians can be sure that in the Mayan and Huasteca cultures, women could play critical religious and political roles, and the artists of those cultures believed that it was important to record them for posterity.